Welcome to Chatterbox Besties with Brenda and Ricki. We're two besties sharing news, gift ideas, and lifestyle hacks to turn ordinary days into a 10 plus. This episode is brought to you by Sid Play Eat Gourmet Salts and Sauces. They're the easiest way to enjoy real truffles at home, blended with the finest ground gourmet ingredients. These versatile salts and sauces turn every bite into an elevated and flavor-packed experience. Sid Play Eat is offering 20% off to all of our listeners today. So when you go to their website, use Bestie20 as the code, and we'll have that in our show notes for you as well. And you can save up to $10 on your order. And this is for all new customers, which I'm a huge fan of these products. So we're super excited to have that as our sponsor for today. So here we are. Hi, Ricki. It's Friday, or Fry-yay, some people say. And why don't you launch into what we have in store today? We're so excited to talk to our guest today.
Well, thank you. We have a very special guest with us today. Her name is Heidi Coudal. Hi, Heidi.
Hi, so happy to be here.
She's the founder of Big Delicious Planet, and she's mastered the art of bringing the soil to the plate. So before we get into it with Heidi, I just want to say, Heidi, we're also very glad you're here. And we just have to catch up a little with Brenda. First, I hope everyone's been following our floral tips from our last episode.
Well, the floral tips, Ricki, oh my gosh, my flowers have been totally thriving with all of those tips. So normally my flowers would last a few days to a week and then just dump them in the trash. And okay, believe it or not, I'm on to 17 days of my bouquet from Trader Joe's. September 1st, I purchased them. I followed the tips. And if you haven't listened, you need to listen because your flowers you will extend the life. It's totally unbelievable. So they're so fabulous, and you cannot bring home another bouquet of flowers until you listen to these super easy tips. It totally works. So yay, thank you. They were awesome. Ricki is our at-home, she's our resident florist, one of her prior careers. So she really gave us some awesome tips last time. So thank you.
Oh, that's so sweet. And I just want to tell you, I tried the trick on poppies, which only lasts like a day or two. And mine ended up lasting a week and a half. Even though they were my ideas, I didn't know they would work that well. So I was very excited.
Awesome.
Okay, so pivoting a little, I know you mentioned this to me, Brenda, but I want to share it with the rest of the audience. If you listen to our Elevate Your Midlife episode about the M Factor film, we all learned there's going to be a new version coming out. And it's sort of like, and I'm just going to use their words, a pre-M, perimenopause factor, like before you get to the menopause phase of your life. And it's coming out in the spring of 2026. I think this is going to be amazing. And I feel like the movement for women has now been incredible. And frankly, it's about time.
Yes, I totally, totally agree. And we do need to advocate ourselves for sure, especially for our health. So excited to see what they come up with next spring. So I just want to mention really quickly, I don't know if you know Naomi Osaka. She is a top tennis pro, and during the US Open, which I'm always obsessed with, she's actually a lovely player, and she's got this very joyful and creative spirit, which is so nice to see in the intensity of these tennis matches. She was promoting these bag charms, which were absolutely so cute. She created these rhinestone encrusted Labubus, which I don't know if you guys are familiar with them, but they're these fuzzy little monster creatures that it's kind of like the new wave Beanie Baby, if any of you recall those. You open the package and you don't really know which one you're getting. Well, she contracted with a rhinestone artist and she came up with the cutest sparkling bag charms. She's calling it the La Bling Bling series. She named some of her charms Billie Jean Bling, Arthur Flash, Andre Swagacy. I mean, so joyful. She's got it like attached to her tennis bag. She talks about each one every time she wins a match. She had a special one in mind if she won the whole thing, but she didn't. So she kind of said, okay, I don't deserve this because I didn't win it. So it was, I just loved the sweetness. I loved that she's taking this trend, making it her own, and just adding an element of relaxation and joy and fun to a very, very intense, high level sport. So I just love her because of that.
Yeah, I love her too. And I really love the fact that she was bringing extended joy beyond the tennis element and making us all feel really great. And speaking of joy, hello, Big Delicious Planet. Hello,
Hi.
Heidi again. And the things you have built are really just awesome. So I just wanted to say thank you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Well, it's so true. So here's how we discovered Big Delicious Planet. My husband and I went to one of your dinners, Heidi, over the summer. I mean, we're self-proclaimed foodies. And I was like, oh, this sounds kind of cool. And they're doing a collab with RPM Steak. And we're like, all right, well, let's try it. We went with another couple. And I just have to say, we were completely blown away.
Oh,
In the
great.
middle of this very industrial part of Chicago, it's basically west of the West Loop. You don't even know where you are. I mean, it's kind of, I think, what West Loop used to be. There is this oasis and this incredible caterer, Heidi, who serves up the yummiest menu from a farm in the middle of this space. It's unreal.
Well,
Thank you.
I went to another event there called Sip and Stroll. And even though I worked a few blocks from you, I had no idea it was there, which is really so lovely to discover this gem in the middle of all this. I'm just going to make up my own word, urbanness.
Mhm.
But it was really like a paradise. And today we're going to learn how she did it, how she got off the ground, how you became, I was blown away by this, by the way, the greenest urban farmer in the country. Not just a green farmer, but in the country. And
It's
year
green,
after
right? Greenest caterer,
cater. Oh,
not
sorry.
farmer, not farmer.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, cater in the country. And year after year, you get awards. And it's right here in our backyard. So I just want to talk about a little about that. And we also are catering a luncheon in a couple weeks, September 26th. We only have a few spots left, so I just want to give a little plug. If anyone's interested, please let us know because as I said, space is limited, but we'll keep you posted on the extraordinary event that we're going to experience. I know it's going to be amazing. So
Yeah, we're so
enjoy.
excited. We're so excited. And so, okay, we're in September, right? And we have a beautiful forecast for a few weeks. So we know we're going to have an amazing luncheon next week, and we're really
Mhm.
psyched. And another part of September for me is it's kind of like January, right? It's in January, we talk about New Year's resolutions, but really September slots in as a time where we reset as well. We've just gone through the busy summer, kids are going back to school, and you just start to rethink like, what do you want your fall to look like before the crazy holiday season? So, this is a really good time to reset. And that is really one of the reasons why we decided to have sort of our Chatterbox Besties event in September, just to get everybody together to like recharge for the fall. And we're super, super excited. So let's get into talking to Heidi because I know everybody's really excited. And Ricki, why don't you launch us into it?
Okay, well, first, I know I just want to make everyone aware because I know you're going to love everything about our interview with Heidi. But please stick around even after the interview because we're also had a separate interview with her horticulturist, Dylan. And I think you're going to learn a lot of things, even if you're a city folk. So enjoy it. We have a sneak peek on our YouTube channel. We hope you stick around. And whether it's a small patch in the city or a larger segment in your backyard, even if you have a home situation, you're going to find him so interesting and full of knowledge.
And Heidi started out, as you may not know, in the fast-paced world of Chicago catering for rock stars, believe it or not. And at that stage, I'm sure every detail had to be on point. But instead of chasing the glamour, she rooted herself into something deeper, into building an urban farm. And now Heidi and Big Delicious Planet, they don't just grow food, they create experiences from intimate farm to table dinners to catered events, and they're really redefining what it means to eat locally and seasonally. So let's grab a seat at the table. This is going to be a delicious conversation. And Ricki, start us off.
Okay, so here we go. So we'd love to know what drew you into culinary world and how did the catering for the rock stars shape your approach to food?
Well, I did grow up in a Air Force family, so we moved around a lot. We lived all over the U.S. I was actually born in Germany,
Oh,
and then we moved back to Germany for 3 years when I was in grade school, and we moved to Athens, Greece for a year.
Wow.
And then we moved back to the United States. So I was always kind of surrounded by experiencing, different culinary or different cuisines in Europe. Um, and I did cook a lot with my mom. I mean, originally in our earlier days, it was probably more, food out of a box. And then as we traveled a lot, um, we experienced, we just tasted everything. And my mom, like, would have us digging mussels on the beach in
Wow.
uh, France when we were camping, and we would,
amazing.
steam them in butter. Uh, but then when we moved back to the United States, it was kind of a different story. I mean, we would go to cook a lot of food out of her cookbooks from where we were living. But originally, I, started out in the film industry in Chicago, and I was freelancing, and I, realized that it was kind of hard to make a living freelancing. So I started working with a catering company, and then so that kind of led to me cooking massive quantities of food. I mean, I'd never really had a culinary background
Wow.
cooking for hundreds of people,
Wow.
but I was kind of thrown into it and ended up, just starting my own company because I did know that the film industry needed another caterer. There was only one at the time. And I also was kind of uh, asked to bid on this first job that we got, which was Aerosmith at the United Center, um, by one of the clients from my previous company. And I bid on it and we ended up getting it. So I had to throw a crew together, and
Wow.
that
Excellent.
kind of kicked off 19 years of backstage catering, which was kind of interesting.
Right place at the right time, I
Love
guess.
Yeah.
that. That's so cool.
Do you remember a defining moment that helped you pivot toward building an urban farm?
Yeah, I mean, when I moved into my current space, which is my third kitchen, um, which was in 2010, a lot of our clients were asking us um, kind of what our green mission was. That was kind of a buzzword in 2010 for
Yeah.
our corporate clients. And I was like, I don't have one. I mean, it's not that we weren't really thinking about
I love
Sure.
it.
food, but I mean, like some of our rock clients, for instance, the band Fish, they were really into where food was coming from.
Wow.
Um, but it was hard to have a relationship with a farmer back then. I mean, we catered farm aid 2 times.
Oh,
Once I think
wow.
in 97 maybe, and then another time in I want to say 2005 or 2008. And that, we had to call the farmers or fax them and ask them like, okay, we heard you want to donate to Farm Aid. What do you have? And how, when can you bring it to us? Uh, and just like piecing together like 40 pounds of pork from this guy, 80 pounds of pork from that guy, you know, it was
Wow.
very interesting. But when I moved into my current space, I really, just having clients ask about a green mission, I was like, I really need to change the way I'm doing things. When I move into this building, it's going to be a fresh start. And so I started looking at, for instance, the Green Restaurant Association. They uh, rate all food service companies, and I just wanted to see like what our green, rating was. So they helped me do that, but it was also around the same time that I noticed there was like a, empty corner of our parking lot. And that's when I really was like, maybe I could build a few garden beds here just for fun to see what happens. So I had to find somebody who could do that because I don't know anything about growing food.
Okay.
And to be honest, I kind of still don't. Um, but I found someone who helped me start our first 8 garden beds, and I really had no idea what I was getting into. So it was kind of exciting.
That's
Wow.
fabulous. Wow.
So, as we said earlier, you are known as the greenest, maybe the
Mhm.
greatest too, caterer in America. How many years? And can you just delve into what that is and tell us a little bit more about that and what it means to you?
Sure. I mean, so like I was saying earlier, we went with the Green Restaurant Association, who, they rate food service companies, stadiums, catering companies, and they're really looking at, I think, 7 different categories, from your energy efficiency, your disposables that you're using, your waste, what are you doing with your waste,
Mm-hmm.
your food sourcing, and there are a few other things. But we are, first of all, we're in a geothermal building. So our HVAC system is run on geothermal energy, which really makes a big difference
Wow.
for sustainability. But the main thing that we really started doing was composting in 2010. And I mean, there is just so much waste in the food industry. And I knew that just from looking at our garbage at the end of every day, because
Mm-hmm.
we
Sure.
get truckloads delivered in the morning. By the end of the day, after everything's prepped, broken down, cooked, and out the door, it was just a bunch of garbage. And the food waste actually takes up so much space. So we started
Hmm.
composting. And
That's
anyhow,
amazing.
the Green Restaurant Association gave us a 4-star rating, which is their highest. We were the first
Excellent.
catering company to ever get that rating. And they also named us Greenest Caterer in the United States, which was a first for them.
Wow.
And we've actually held that title for 13 years. And
Wow.
it really is, I mean, I'm kind of surprised, I guess, that we're the greenest caterer, but when I even said that to them in 2013 when they uh, awarded us that, but they were like, "You are going beyond what any catering company has even thought
Oh,
about doing." I mean, a lot of people just it doesn't even cross their mind. I mean, now, yes, people there are definitely. I know a lot of certified green caterers, and I think that's wonderful, and also restaurants. But I think we're just trying to do what we
That's right.
can to reduce our impact on the environment every day.
Well, I
and leave it
love
a better
that it's,
place.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's coming from your essence of what you truly believe, which is why you're
Mhm.
always voted the best creator. You're not
Yeah.
just trying to like fit into that mold. I mean, it's
Hmm.
truly who you are, and that shines through. So kudos to you. That is incredible.
Thank
Really,
you.
really love that. So let's go into a little bit about your farm to table sort of philosophy. So what, just in a few words, what does farm to table mean to you beyond sort of the buzzword? Everybody's talking farm to table now. It's kind of a trendy little topic, but
Yeah, I think it has been for years. And I mean,
yeah,
to me, it really just is more about intention about what you're doing.
yeah,
It's not just about sourcing locally, but it's kind of about creating an entire ecosystem that, cares, and, you know, what we grow, how we harvest it, how we serve it, and even how we dispose of our scraps.
yeah,
It's a circular thing, and it's thoughtful, and for
clearly.
us, it's very personal.
Yeah, love that. Love that. What did you find, as you were kind of going through this process of learning how to create this urban farming space, um, turning an urban space to a thriving farm? Like, I think you talked a little bit about it, but what else, what would you say was kind of like the biggest hurdle
Um,
or one of them? It doesn't have to be the,
I mean, surprisingly, I don't think there were that many
oh,
hurdles.
that's
I did
great.
originally, I reached out to the city, which I don't even know if I should talk about that because you never know when the city's going to change their rules. But I
Policies.
reached out
Yeah.
and just said, "Can I, have an urban farm here?" And they were like, "As long as you're not selling the produce to people. I mean, I could
Ah,
Oh,
grow
interesting.
it and
Okay.
cook it. I can grow it and cook it, but I cannot have technically can't have a farmer's market
Yeah,
for
I
some reason.
gotcha. They have rules around that, it sounds like. Okay.
But it started out with 8 raised beds in a little corner, and then 2 months after that, I found out who owned the property that was behind the fence because there were two city lots back there.
Okay.
So I was like, I had no idea food grew this quickly, and I was like, maybe we should do more of this. And so we like 2 months later, we had 20 more beds,
Wow.
and
Oh,
there were a bunch of. It was kind of like a junkyard on the other side of this fence, and some hippie school buses were parked back there. They moved all the buses over to one side, and we built 20 more beds. And then the following year I took over the other lot, and I knew that's when I built out the patio that's in the middle, because I knew that I was like, it would
Okay.
be kind of cool to like have some events out here. But
Amazing.
but I don't really think there were ever any hurdles in doing it.
Okay. Good for you.
oh my God.
That's
I
good.
absolutely am enamored with your creativity and your foresight with all this. It's really spectacular. So I'm wondering how you balance sustainability with running a profitable food business in the middle of the city.
I mean, it's not always easy because
Yeah.
sustainable practices definitely can cost more. I mean,
Sure.
we're paying, for a compost. I mean, just composting alone is kind of expensive. But that's just something, it's been built into the identity of our company for so many years now, and clients hire us because we're sustainable.
Mhm.
Um, so I think sometimes you have to, maybe your profits might not be as great in, certain areas, but it's just kind of the way I've decided to run this business, to, have a business that cares and hopefully be
Yeah.
profitable.
Well,
But
Absolutely.
you're leaving the world a better place. And whether you knew it or it was subconscious, even your name reflects Big Delicious Planet. So kudos to you. What kind of crops or ingredients have surprised you most in the terms of growing in an urban setting? And frankly, Chicago, because
yeah, I
our
mean, to be
weather's so
honest,
volatile.
like I said, I am not, I mean, when I started doing this, I hired an expert because I did not know how to even grow, a basil plant on my patio at the
That's so
time.
cool. I love your story.
So it's like, but since I didn't know anything about that, I mean, I think the one thing I've been really surprised is, the volume of tomatoes that we grow
Mm.
every year still shocks me. We harvested more than 1,000 pounds of tomatoes last year, which is
Oh
a
gosh.
lot. I mean, we
Wow.
could go a couple, 2 or 3 months in the summer without having to buy tomatoes. And, we'd go through a lot of tomatoes. But also, um, certain, things that we do in our farm, like, I don't know if Dylan, when you were on the tour, if he was talking about this bed of three sisters that I think is really cool. It's a indigenous growing method that is, it's a bed that has corn, beans, and squash, and they all thrive
Yes,
together.
yes, yes.
And I just think that, like, we do like to kind of have some stories in our
Yeah,
farm that are
love
kind
it.
of,
Oh,
you know, pay homage to the early agriculturists, I guess. But if anybody's interested on that, the bed of three sisters are corn, beans, and squash, and the corn grows tall, the beans grow up around the corn, and then the squash has large leaves in the bottom, which kind of keeps the moisture in the soil. So it's kind
That's
of a
oh,
cool
so
thing.
cool.
very
So cool.
cool.
Wow.
Can you share, because we're a little bit nosy, a behind the scenes story of a particularly memorable on-site farm dinner?
Yeah. We haven't, I mean, I feel like each week that we host these urban farm dinners is just so memorable and magical. It's lovely to meet guests like you, Brenda, who just really have had such a, that it's made a big impact on them,
Mhm.
just coming to a special dining experience in the city. We don't do very many collaborations like the one that you were at, which was RPM. That was really fun to do. They had reached out to us because
Oh,
they were interested in partnering with us on it. They really, like what we're doing. So I was honored to have them come. We did a dinner. I can't even remember what year it was. It was probably like 8 years ago because we've been doing, this is our 10th year doing these ticketed dinners. But
Wow.
someone from the LA Times was coming to Chicago doing some type of a food conference, and they had I hope I'm not saying his wrong name, but it's Virgilio Martinez from uh, Peru was going
oh,
to be
cool.
coming to do a dinner, and they asked if he could do a dinner at Big Delicious Planet. And he is a Michelin starred restaurant or chef, and he and his wife have multiple restaurants in Peru.
Okay.
Um, he's very well known, and we hosted this dinner, and he brought lava and all these really cool things.
Oh,
He had like a couple
wow.
suitcases of
Okay.
interesting products and
Amazing.
uh, ingredients that he was using. So that was definitely, I think, a highlight of our dinner series. And so many people, surprisingly, who came to it had been to his,
Ah,
one of their restaurants in
Oh,
Peru.
wow.
well, I
Wow.
did notice just a little, a little behind the scenes from your guests at
Mhm.
the RPM dinner. A lot of the couples there were foodies that have been to lots of different restaurants,
Mhm.
not just in Chicago, but all over the world. So I think you do attract that type of clientele to those dinners. So awesome. That's kudos to you. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really, really cool. So how do you do you approach cooking for celebrities differently than for your like local community per se? Or is it kind of just you have the same approach and everybody loves what you're doing?
I mean, well, we're not really cooking for a lot of celebrities anymore because I kind of dropped out of catering backstage about
Okay. Okay.
10 or 11 years ago. Um, but we do kind of treat everyone, I guess, equally. I mean, when we were doing backstage catering, obviously, the bands were always excited when they came through Chicago because they knew that they were going to get really good food that they might not be able to get in a
Yeah.
small town in, say,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Kansas or Indiana. And they also kind of really wanted to be kept, just kind of leave them alone. I mean, backstage. So
Sure. Here's
we
the
did have a
great food and
policy, no,
yeah.
no, don't ask for autographs, don't take photos,
Of
which
course. Of
if I
course.
had
Of
asked for
course.
photographs from every band we catered, I would have like thousands of them because we catered for everyone. But I do believe
Excellent.
that, yeah, everyone deserves, the same level of, you know, great hospitality.
Yes, of course. That's awesome. So what, and I think you touched on this a little, what role does storytelling play when you kind of bring diners to the farm and plate their meals, or even when you plate their meals offsite?
I mean, I think it does play a big role in everything. I mean, because
Okay.
people don't just remember uh, the taste of the dish, but they do, remember the whole experience of it. And that's why, especially, whether it's our farm dinner or the wedding couples who we cater to. I mean, for instance, if a couple comes to a wedding tasting at Big Delicious Planet, after the tasting, we give them a tour of our farm, and a lot of people are coming a year before their wedding.
Sure,
So we
sure.
could say, like, this is what we're growing in August. Like, we can incorporate this everything into your
So
wedding menu.
great. So
And we
great.
do, for a lot of our couples and, the dinners that we host on site, we're using between 2 to sometimes 4 dozen of our own vegetables and herbs and edible flowers in the menu, which is, I think,
Wow.
really cool for people to like see it, that
Yes.
it's just like hyper local food.
It's
Amazing.
literally farm to
Yeah.
table.
Yeah.
Literally. Okay. So how do you see your farm and catering business impacting the local food culture in Chicago?
I mean, I think we've shown that um, that an urban farm can exist alongside a catering company for sure. I mean, which I think we're the only caterer in Chicago that has an urban farm. I know there's another one that has a really large greenhouse, but I
Okay.
think I don't want to say that we've inspired people, but we definitely have, because I know there are restaurants that have come over wanting to tour our site to see what we're doing.
Oh, love it.
And I
Great.
think it's, I think people see that you can do something like this. And actually, like Rick Bayless has been a huge,
Huge.
um, you know, uh, mentor, not mentor, but to us. We catered his TV show for probably 10
Oh,
seasons, and
wow.
he has his own
Fabulous. Good
urban
for
farm in
you.
his backyard. He's got a beautiful space in his backyard. And just, a couple times when I would go over there on a delivery and just sit there and just admire what he had done. And um, he's got a beautiful space, but he also has a rooftop garden above his restaurant. And I think a lot of people think that they're always like, where's your rooftop farm? And I'm like, well, we don't have a rooftop. It's actually next to the building.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Cool.
I think it's actually kind of funny that you're catering to a guy who has a
Yeah.
restaurant for
Well, they
the
don't want to
show.
eat Mexican food every day.
No.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
actually, our Mexican food is really good.
Oh, good.
I believe it. Listen, at this stage, everything I'm sure is amazing.
So big question. We kind of touched on the composting, but what do you do with the leftover food? Do you donate it to charities, food banks?
I mean,
What?
prior to the pandemic, we had a shelter pick up from us twice a week,
Oh,
because
wow. Cool.
before then we had a cafe that was really busy. We had so many corporate jobs. We had a lot of like big accounts that where we were catering breakfast and lunch every day.
Oh,
So
wow.
we definitely had a lot more food waste then. Now I just give it to our employees to take home.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, you've
So
optimized what you're doing at this
yeah,
point
I mean,
too.
that's
So
one of the perks of, it's like if there are
working.
leftovers, they can take some home after I eat.
Excellent.
Lucky, lucky
Lucky
people.
them.
Yeah.
How do you navigate the business side? I know that kind of talked about you being a chef, you know
Yeah.
about farming if you're not a farmer, and you're also an entrepreneur.
It's definitely been a juggle for 30 years. I don't really cook anymore, although I shouldn't say that. I mean, I can jump into any position in the kitchen.
Perfect.
Currently, I do a lot of the pastries, and we have a part-time pastry
Oh,
chef, but I actually do a lot of the desserts as well. Um, but I've learned to delegate. And, for instance, Brian he leads our kitchen team. And Chelsea, who has been with me for 8 years, she oversees all of, the operations and events that we do.
okay.
And Dylan manages the farm. And I kind of have the vision, and they kind of just kind of go along with it. They do an excellent job with, each department that they're running.
Well, I can say as an outsider, just the few people that we met, they all feel that they're part of the family.
They
And and
are.
and you
Yeah,
can
for
really see the
sure.
passion when they're talking about it. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
What would you say, looking back, was one mistake or one lesson that you learned early on that kind of shaped the future of your business today?
Well, I mean, this company kind of started out on a whim. I
Oh,
was
great.
never really thinking beyond the next day, the next week. And, suddenly we started getting all this business. And, I was pretty young too. I was 27 years old when I started it. And my sister came on as my partner after a short time. She was working with me. And she became my partner for 12 years, which was great to have someone who, she and I were kind of a tag team. I mean, we both cooked, we both ran the business. And then when she decided to leave the business and move to London, um, I kind of had to decide if I was going to continue being the head cook. I mean, I don't ever really call myself a chef,
Yeah.
or I was going to run the business. And I I didn't think I could do both. So I chose to, you know, run the business and just trust the chefs who worked with us because they had
Yeah.
been cooking everything for,
Right.
so many years anyhow. Um, but I think that just being kind of a scrappy business from the beginning, um, there were definitely a lot of learning curves. I had worked when I worked in film production, I was a production coordinator and a producer. So I did learn a lot about budgets then, but I never knew anything about running a business. So I've I sometimes I still feel like
You're learning.
sometimes I feel like I've got imposter syndrome
Aw.
after 30 years, but uh, I think definitely we could have used a lot more procedures and checklists and stuff like that. And we still learn as we go. And I think that's kind of what I think keeps it fun.
And
Yeah, and I
fresh.
yeah.
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 I love how you describe your story as kind of a founder of a new business. I think it's a very common story of
Mhm.
entrepreneurs, and it's just
Yeah.
it's wonderful to hear sort of your journey because I think, if there are any other women out there thinking of starting a business, like you're realizing that you just have to kind of jump into it and learn along the way,
Mhm.
and look at how successful you are. I love that. So great, great piece of your story. So I'd love to hear a little bit about sort of your vision, if you have one, at this stage for like the future of your business. Do you have any sort of ideas for what you would love to do? And I know one of the things we sometimes see at different sort of venues and things, different like camps or classes for like the next
Mhm.
generation of urban farmers. Have you have any thoughts
Yeah.
on any of that?
I mean, we've definitely worked with, just the vision of the company. I mean, I'd love to continue doing what we're doing. And, uh, it's been interesting since the pandemic. I mean, we are still like not at the level that we were before it, like
Sure.
as far as the amount of work we're doing. So I have really been trying to continue to build, relationships with corporate clients.
Okay.
Because before the pandemic, we had so many
Yeah.
regular daily accounts, and that just has not come back, unfortunately.
Well,
But
people aren't going into the office as much is probably part of the
I
problem.
know everybody go back to work.
I know, exactly.
But I've been trying to, find a way to work less. That's all every year. That's my goal. I'm going to work less. And something comes up and it doesn't happen. I mean,
Reality.
last year at this time, I'd started a yoga teacher training
Oh, good for
just for
you.
my own personal,
Yeah. Health and wellness. Yeah.
just to improve my practice. But at the beginning of the year, I wanted to work less and things just happen. And I don't, to be honest, I don't even know what a caterer or a restaurant would do if the owner didn't know how to cook, because I definitely know that there are some that don't know how to cook.
Okay.
But I like, if someone's sick, especially in a time like this, where like right now people are getting COVID again. It's like if we're short staffed, I will jump in and start cooking because that's just what needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as I guess you were asking about camps and stuff, we have definitely over the years since we've had our urban farm, we've hosted so many different student groups
Oh,
from
yay. I love it.
grade school to high school, university level,
Excellent.
culinary school. I love it when the culinary schools
Oh,
come over for
yeah.
tours.
Oh,
There's a school right down the street from us, the Wolcott College Prep, and they come over. Actually, they come over regularly. Just one of their photography classes. Like they like to come over and just take photos. But we've
Wow.
hosted them. I love to talk about sustainability and our urban farm. And in fact, I earlier this year I went. I am always trying to learn more as well, and I went through a Stanford sustainability course just to
Excellent.
so I could learn more about what we're doing.
Love it. Incredible.
wow.
Wow. So when you're in your mind, since you're such an expert and it's really, this is truly who you are. In terms of the future of like urban farming, this type of dining, like where do you see it heading or in the next sort of 5 to 10 years, if you even have thought that far out?
I mean, I definitely think that a lot of restaurants in Chicago are already buying from local farms,
Hmm.
and they have been for a long time. And I think that's really cool. There's also a restaurant on Milwaukee Avenue, Daisies,
Oh
that
yeah, we were just
I
there
mean
actually. It's
they have their
excellent.
own farm in Indiana.
Oh,
Um,
I didn't even know that. Okay.
yeah, the chef owner's brother is growing specifically for their restaurant, which is really
Incredible.
cool. So I think that we will probably see more of that. I mean, even before I started our urban farm, which is, on 3 city lots, I had kind of thought about like, wow, maybe I could find my own farmer in Wisconsin or somewhere
Oh
to
yeah,
just
yeah,
grow
yeah.
food
Really get a space.
specifically for us. So I think that we're going to see more of that. I think there will be more rooftop farms, or just, restaurants have their own uh, herb gardens out on their
Yes.
patios. But I think there's going to be more transparency than about what people are doing. And I think
Okay.
that, I think definitely consumers are interested in knowing where their food is coming from. And, you know, they want to, I think it makes them feel good about dining at a place that is thinking about the waste that,
Yeah,
is being created,
sure.
Yes.
or trying to, prevent waste.
Yeah. Yeah. That sounds great. So do you have in your own mind, if you could just design sort of the ultimate sort of next level experience, if like, anything that you would love to do, barring any cost or anything, that would sort of blend your catering roots and your farm, like what would that look like if you had like a dream
Oh
experience, or
gosh,
maybe
I have
you've
so
done it?
many. I mean, I'd love to travel. Just, growing up, traveling as a kid. I mean, because my mom, when we lived in Europe, my mom took us every summer in our VW bus, and we would go camping all over Europe.
Oh my God,
And I
amazing.
just, and then my mom became a travel agent after that because she loved traveling.
She
So I,
loved it.
I think it would be I would love to do like travel food tours or something.
Ooh, like a food retreat.
Yeah, I would love that.
Sign me up.
But but I think it would also be fun to do a day long. I mean, I don't know how we would do this, but do a day long experience of BDP where you're harvesting the food, and then people are coming together to cook a meal together, and
Okay, that sounds amazing.
then, they could help me harvest extract the honey from our
Yes. The
beehives,
bees. We didn't
and
even talk about the bees.
yeah,
Oh my gosh.
and just have a multi-course dinner where everybody has contributed to it.
And do
That
the
sounds
dishes afterwards.
Yeah, that'd be
amazing.
fun.
Okay,
But
we didn't.
we need a bunch of dishwashers because I don't
Yeah.
like to clean.
Yeah, nobody likes the dishes, right? For sure, for sure. Okay, really quickly, tell us a little bit about the bee farm, because the bees, because that was really cool. Again, never expecting to see that in the middle of this industrial, like,
Yeah, I mean,
area.
there definitely are beehives all over Chicago.
Okay.
So in 2012, when I started the farm, I was kind of actually, it was the following year. So 2013, I was walking through our farm, and there was a guy walking around, looking around, and I was like, oh, he's like, hi, I'm Heidi. I'm the owner of Big Delicious Planet. Do you have any questions? And he was like, yeah. He's like, I really want to grow some vegetables at home. I want to start a garden. And he's like, this place is really cool. And he's like, is there anything you're interested in doing? And I was like, I would really love to get a beehive, but I don't even know where to begin. And he was like, well, actually, I'm a beekeeper. I was
Oh
like,
my God, no way.
yeah. So he's like, I'll help you. So the next week he brought a beehive when we started it. And the following year we had two. Uh, he just worked down the street at I don't know, some like mechanical shop.
Okay.
And he lived in the suburbs, but unfortunately that company moved to the suburbs. So he was like, I can't do this anymore. So I found another person who helped me for a year. And then I found our current beekeeping beekeeper Naaman from the Hive Supply.
Okay.
And he manages our bees for us, which, I mean, he's incredible. He's such a great friend as well. But the beekeepers he has trained come and, I mean, most of them don't even wear anything. They just like go in there with their bare
Wow, that's
hands.
so
And I'm just like,
cool.
but the bees each year make about, I think this year we've gotten 250 pounds of honey, which
Oh
is like
my
five
gosh.
five 5 gallon buckets of honey, which is a lot.
Wow. Wow. That is
And
so amazing.
it's like the crops that we're growing, they need pollinators. I mean, we're growing a lot of our tomatoes need pollinators, the squash, eggplant. I mean, so many things that we're growing. Bees are really important to agriculture.
And I will say, and I don't know if there's such a thing as friendly bees, but during the couple of times that I've been to Big Delicious Planet, the bees just sort of mingle with you. Like they're
Yeah.
not like, people are like, oh my God, a bee. And so, we were sitting at the original dinner and there was this beautiful little floral arrangement sitting in front of me. And this bee was just circling around the flower. And I was just watching and I'm like, look at this bee. It's just sort of part of the environment and there's nothing to be afraid of. I was
Only
amazed by
friendly
that.
bees. We only allow friendly bees at our place.
The bees have to interview with you. If they're friendly, they're
Yeah.
in. Yeah.
And then I actually was so inspired by Naaman and, because for years, have been going out there watching what they're doing. And he helped me set up, I'm currently at my house in Wisconsin, and he helped me set up my apiary here. So I have 3 beehives that I've been
Oh my
for the last
gosh.
3 years learning to do this on my own. And it's
Oh my
kind of
God.
scary, but I've gotten a lot of honey this year.
That is so cool. Oh my gosh, what an inspiring journey you've had, and really inspiring us to really understand sort of what it takes to pull this all together. I mean, for you, you started with A-list events, you're cultivating community right on your local farm. I mean, really, it's unreal. And Heidi, you really remind us that food, it's more than flavor, right? It's connection, it's
Mhm.
sustainability, and it's really a story and your story really worth savoring and understanding. Wow.
Thank you.
I just want to say thank you again. And if today's episode left you hungry to experience farm to table in a whole new way, make sure to check out Big Delicious Planet on their website and also on Instagram. And Chatterbox Besties is holding the lunch on September 26th. Tickets are almost sold out, so if you're interested, please reach out to us at chatterboxbesties@gmail.com.
Yes, and we are very excited to have our little besties event at Heidi's Oasis at Big Delicious Planet. And as always, thank you so much for tuning in to Chatterbox Besties with Brenda and Ricki. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Heidi, for sharing your journey
This has
and
been
sharing.
so fun.
Yes, and it really was for us as well, and for sharing your passion with all of us. And if any of you have enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend, share the joy with someone you love, and don't forget to follow our show, subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's all free, and you won't want to miss our next conversation. So again, thank you, Heidi, and we'll see you next time on Chatterbox Besties with Brenda and Ricki.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right, take care.
Welcome to Chatterbox Besties with Brenda and Ricki. Today we're on site here at Big Delicious Planet. It is an incredible urban farm and event space in the heart of Chicago. So my husband and I came to dinner here a couple of weeks ago with another couple, and we just had to come back to learn more. So we're going to learn today about the secrets of the soil.
Most of us see plants as something we buy at the store or admire
in a garden. But behind every thriving farm is someone who knows how to coax life from the soil. And so today, we're stepping into the heart of Big Delicious Planet with their horticulture manager, Dylan.
Yay! Hi, Dylan.
Hello, how's it going?
Dylan, thank you so much for talking with us today. He's the one who really makes the farm flourish. And we're excited to explore the science, the surprises, and even some of the plant myths that you've probably wondered about. So grab your boots or at least your earbuds and let's get into the dirt. Ricki, why don't you start us off?
So, Dylan, I'm dying to know what sparked your interest in horticulture.
Well, I originally started just working with plants when I was growing up. My mom was an avid gardener. We composted quite a bit when I was a kid. I remember having a compost bin in a garden and, just eating rhubarb every year from my mom's rhubarb plants, etc. So, I mean, that's really when I first got started. And then I went to school and got involved in some other things and then sort of circled back to it like later in my 20s. I got involved with a community garden called Roots and Rays that's in Pilsen in Chicago.
Actually, I know that.
And so I, volunteered there for a long time. And then kind of through that went into what's called the Windy City Harvest Sustainable Horticulture Program. It's like a cooperative program between the Chicago Botanic Garden.
It's awesome, by the way.
Yeah, and Chicago Community Colleges. It's like a professional training certification program in sustainable urban horticulture. So I did that program and then just started doing it professionally, so it's sort of something that started as a hobby and just became my profession and wound up at Big Delicious Planet.
I'm really in awe because you're doing something that you love. And they always say it's not work when you love something. So it's obvious that. So how did you end up at Big Delicious Planet?
I think I actually found about the job through Advocates for Urban Agriculture, which is like another good resource for like urban farming in Chicago. It's kind of like a clearinghouse for all sorts of different things that are going on, as well as like a policy advocacy organization. But for my purposes as just like a worker in the urban agricultural space, like they do a pretty good job of like collating job listings, right?
Yeah.
So I just learned about the posting through that and with the interview process. I mean, Big Delicious Planet for years prior to me being here already had like an established reputation as a like source for as both as like a garden but also like a green caterer. So I was aware and visited the space, and it's just kind of an ideal location for the kind of like small scale like market gardening type of growing that I prefer. I mean, I've worked in a number of different types of urban farms, from like a much more mechanized like uh, indoor facility like indoor greenhouses to like a larger outdoor type of setup and things like that. So I definitely prefer, like, this is a good scale. So
Yeah, it's
definitely kind of how I
perfect.
ended up here.
So I think I already know, but what excites you most about working here?
I mean, yeah, I think just generally speaking, it's like the right scale for like one person who has the right tools and just sort of like a good understanding of like the practical approaches to managing a space like this. We have about 82, I think it is, raised beds and just like a number of different like ornamental plantings, like pot plantings, like container gardening and things like that. All sorts of perennial plantings as well too. But for a kind of like logistically organized like system, it's like it's a manageable amount of space to do a lot of things, to not have it be overwhelming, but also to like maximize a lot of space. I would also say too, just like Big Delicious Planet, one thing that really attracted me to the business is that we really do prioritize a lot of sustainability in like a really like practical and like wide-reaching way, so all of our organic material is composted, both like in the kitchen and I compost all the organic material from the garden. We have like a really talented kitchen staff that does really prioritize like utilizing every harvestable aspect of a plant, from seeds to flowers to even like drying, curing, things like that. So, I've worked at farms or just like, sometimes with a farm it's like you're doing your best, but sometimes you're not like utilizing like this aspect of a plant that could still be harvested and used, like if you dry it, for example, or something.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
here it's like I have a great kitchen staff full of talented people who
Right,
I can
right,
hand it
right,
off
right.
to, and then they can just work on it, and I don't have to worry about that.
So tell us, how do you decide? How do you decide what to plant? Is it demand driven, chef driven, farmer driven? How do you figure that out? Or is it just by season or
Well, obviously there are constraints given the climate. We're growing in
yes.
the city of Chicago, so obviously we can't grow like citrus fruits, right?
Right, right.
So, but I would
We
say,
wish.
so given within those, climatic constraints, I guess, and just in terms of like environment and space, like, what makes sense to grow. It's very chef driven, and I would say to a certain extent also just like event space driven, if that
Yeah, yeah,
makes
yeah.
sense.
Right.
So, the chef does play a very significant, like probably the most influential role in just like breaking down like what crops we're growing, when, given the parameters of what we can do. And then usually my input comes in much more at the level of like variety selection.
Okay. That makes
So,
sense.
like the chef will be interested, for example, in like a certain number of like a certain types of tomatoes, for example.
Yeah.
Like he wants like a mix of like multicolored cherry tomatoes, and then I can come to him and be like, well, this variety of like yellow cherry tomato grows well. It has like good disease resistance, right?
Sure, sure.
So my input is much more at that level and kind of like getting through that communication aspect. But like I said too, like in terms of like event space driven, there's like a significant edible landscaping component of the space. Like we host weddings here in the garden.
Yes.
So there are certain locations where like I have to think about height, like where people can see
Okay,
the
okay.
ceremony, or like we're just thinking about like spacing between plants and what plants work together to kind of create like a multi-sensory experience like in the garden itself.
Yeah.
So that is also like a component.
Nice,
How far in
nice.
advance do you plan?
I mean, the growing season outside usually, well, to be honest, we do grow year round, but usually in like January and February especially, it's like we just have some spinach going that we'll harvest maybe
Sure.
every 2 or 3 weeks. So I would say usually in like by late December, we have like the crop plan, like the overall design and placement of everything nailed down more or
Yeah,
less,
yeah.
with like specifics on like seeding rates, because once we have that data, I can
Right.
purchase seeds and lock that in. It's kind of like the biggest thing is we just want to make sure we can buy seeds
Yeah, yeah,
before
yeah.
they sell out, basically.
Right,
So
right.
usually I would say by Christmas, honestly, we pretty much have the next year mapped out more or less.
Okay, that's really
And
cool.
that's a process that's already started kind of in late October, early November, between like Heidi, the owner, our head chef, and myself, just kind of dialoguing and taking a look at what worked, what we want to do next season. Like there are a number of crops like the tomatoes, the carrots, the beets, a couple of the salad mixes. A lot of those things like we just do every year, right? So
right.
we already kind of have that check mark already marked out for us. We don't have to worry about it too much. So, and then
Yeah.
we're just sort of like, drilling into the more specifics of what worked and what didn't.
Okay. That's awesome.
I just have one other question. Is it event driven, like when you're planning things so you can know that there's a wedding coming up next June and they want X? Do you ever plant according to an event or?
We've done that here and there. I mean, sometimes you're working with living things, so it can be a little bit of it can be there can be
Sure.
a variable. So we don't want to like overpromise and then like have some sort of weather event
Disaster.
or
Yeah,
like
exactly,
insect
exactly.
There is no
problem.
climate change.
Yeah, so yeah, I don't know. I mean, that is like we think about it in general terms, and then yeah, we've done some specific things here and there, but
Okay.
sometimes it's like it's all like a kind of puzzle piece. So you're
Right,
trying to
right.
fit everything together and trying to balance it. So sometimes getting that specific can be a little difficult,
Sure.
but yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about the bees. I know there are some beehives in here that a beekeeper manages? Like, what do you have a role in that, or what is the role of the bees in the garden, actually?
So I do not personally really take care of the bees.
Right.
They are a very important part of the garden, though.
Okay.
I mean, they play a very significant role in just cross pollination and
Okay.
just generally like pollinating our crops. Um, so, you know, a lot of our fruiting crops, like our peppers, our tomatoes, our cucumbers, our summer squash, etc., like they need to be cross pollinated. So having honeybees on location, just from like a growing perspective, is very helpful with that.
Yeah.
It's not really something I have to worry about.
Okay.
But then beyond that, we also harvest honey from our hives, and that does get implemented quite frequently in menus. That would be something to talk to Heidi or maybe the chef about, you know. But yeah, we definitely, I think we generally get around 200 pounds of honey, like a harvest or so. And they're
Amazing.
just these huge 5-gallon buckets full of dense honey. And
So cool, right?
and I would just say generally, like, so I don't have to do beekeeping here. I do have my hands full otherwise, but I have done it in the past. I'm certainly not an expert or anything, but I would just generally say like it's a fairly like low input from like a, you know, work standpoint, and like high reward, I would say. Like once the colony of bees is installed where like you're putting them, assuming you're using what's called a Langstroth hive, which is what we have here, you know, it really only requires about like an inspection a week every 2 weeks.
Okay.
And then like the harvest period, the harvest is an intensive activity, but it's usually like maybe once or twice a year. So it is a cool thing to think about if people are interested in, you know, learning about bees or working with bees. Like it, you know, it takes some work, but it's not the most like intensive hobby for sure.
Excellent.
What is the most common misconception about urban farming?
Um,
Other than you can do it in a city.
I mean, I'd have to think about that for a second. Like in terms of misconception, um,
Like just unexpected, maybe, right?
I
yeah,
think
I mean,
what you're saying, I mean, what you have accomplished here and what you're delivering and producing is awesome.
Mhm.
And I never would have thought this would have been in a city.
I mean, I would say maybe then like just maybe not so much a misconception, but just like it's a whole world out there, you know? So like kind of like I was alluding to before, like there are all sorts of different approaches to doing like city-based agriculture. Like I'll do a shameless plug for my wife's business, but my wife is also in urban agriculture.
Oh,
Her
cool.
farm is called Closed Loop Farm.
Okay.
In the city of Chicago, they work further in the south side.
Okay.
Closed Loop Farm, like they do primarily indoor growing with microgreens,
Oh yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
That's
like
cool.
But this isn't what's sold at grocery stores, or is it? Or
they
farmers
sell
markets?
primarily to restaurants, but
Restaurants.
they do
that
the
makes
Green
sense.
City, they do the Green City market as well, and they do
Okay.
have outdoor planting as well. But just to illustrate, like, you know, an urban farm can be kind of like what you see here, which is what people I think would expect more.
Yeah.
You know, like raised beds and a lot of outdoor planting. It can be, but it can be indoor. It can be, you know, on the roof of a building, which is I've managed a garden that was on a roof of a building before. You know, like there's a wide tapestry, I guess, of different forms
Wow.
of city-based agriculture.
Interesting. Okay, so I want to ask, like a busman's holiday,
Okay.
do you do any gardening at home, or are you just done with it by the time you get home?
We've been wondering about that.
That's our big question.
Sure. I mean, my wife and I do garden at home. It's a very passive activity for us, I would say, and it's very much just driven by the leftovers from either of our farms, basically. So
And
I mean,
energy, probably.
Yeah.
energy, you know, but we try to, you know, take a much more passive approach at home, you know, like we'll let the plants, you know, within reason grow how they want to grow. Maybe we'll prune them here and there,
Yeah.
but, you know, we're not being as meticulous as we would at work.
Right, right. This
Uh,
is great. Wow.
Yeah, and I would say personally, I prefer to grow flowers at home than food.
Okay.
Just because I have access to so much food already,
Oh,
right?
man.
So at home, I'm more interested in the marigolds and the
Yeah,
celosia
yeah.
than maybe like, you know, pruning tomato plants.
Oh, amazing. Amazing. Oh my gosh. Well, so we'd love to ask you just kind of some rapid fire questions just to kind of get to the like true or false
Okay.
about plants and vegetables. So just really quick, like maybe if, you know, 2, 3 word answers to kind of like, you know, give us a little reality check on what we know or don't know. So
I'll do
true
my
or
best.
false, some nuggets of knowledge. Ricki, why don't you take it away and go through our quick list?
Okay. So one of them is, do you talk to plants? Does it really make a difference?
I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, I do know in regards to that question and the music question, like I do know that sonic vibrations, there have been studies that do.
I did it in seventh grade.
We knew it.
In seventh grade, I called it music tropism.
I am by no means an expert on the subject.
It did work. It did
Um,
work. Okay, there's this myth that you can tell if soil is healthy just by smelling it. True or false?
We don't know if it's a myth. He's going to tell
Oh,
us.
I'm sorry. Yes, we don't know.
I mean,
True or false? Sorry.
it's one of the factors I would look at for sure.
Oh,
I mean,
Really?
I would look at like structure, but like physical structure, like picking up soil and seeing like how much tilth it has, like if it's clay, like if it's really compact or what. Sorry, I know this is rapid fire.
Okay.
I guess I would say mainly the smell thing is like you can tell if like soil is anaerobic. It has
Wow.
like the kind of
Oh,
curdled
how about
milk
that?
stink to it, right? And if it's aerobic, like air is moving through the pockets in the soil, it's going to smell like a forest, and that's what you're looking for.
Oh,
Excellent.
interesting.
Excellent.
Okay, this whole thing about organic, does that just mean pesticide free or is it more than that?
It depends on who you
soil?
ask. Well, no, it just depends a little bit on like who you're asking. I mean, the way that I've approached it is based off of like USDA guidelines as to what is considered
Okay.
organic, like what would be certified organic. There are people who like have stronger views, like think that there should be more stringent guidelines, and some of those things I agree with, but it just depends a little bit. But that's generally what I would follow.
Okay.
The USDA guidelines, yes.
Can you revive a dying plant with enough water?
Not if it's gotten too much water and that's why it's dying.
That's what I thought.
I mean, it could be one of the things, but it just depends on why the plant is dying.
Yeah. Okay, I just have to ask you this: Are tomatoes are technically a fruit? True or false?
I think so.
I thought they
would-
were a fruit because they have seeds.
Yes,
I thought,
think
but we
that's
thought
the,
we would ask the expert. But
I think that's the,
okay,
the
okay.
way you would clarify
Clarified
that.
it.
The
but,
fact that you're saying think makes me get nervous.
Yeah, exactly.
I would have to check. It's been a little bit of time. But yeah. Sounds right.
Oh my gosh!
I'm teasing.
Wow. Well, thank you so much, Dylan. I mean, you've really opened our eyes to urban gardening, and what a treat it is to be here at Big Delicious Planet. And we're getting ready for our little tour and sip and stroll to the farm. So we will get with everybody else soon with some more information on Big Delicious Planet.
Thank you, Dylan. You were awesome.
Amazing.
Of course.
Wow. So, question, we're not recording now, but I thought these deter pets, like
We hope you enjoyed our on-site visit to Big Delicious Planet. See you soon at Chatterbox Besties. Hi guys, just to share, this podcast is solely presented for entertainment and informational purposes. We're your besties sharing our perspectives with you. See you soon, your Chatterbox Besties, Brenda and Ricki.